I'm happy to announce that I'm divorcing this mediocre woman, my husband said, and his whole family started clapping. But later, he came begging me to fix everything when his affair collapsed. This happened last Christmas, and I still sometimes wake up thinking about that applause. I was 32, and my now ex-husband, Alejandro, 34, decided to drop the bomb in the most humiliating way possible. We were at his parents' house for Christmas dinner. Everyone was there, his mom Patricia, his dad Hector, his brother Lucas, and his sister Mariana, all laughing, toasting with champagne, talking about trips, that close-knit family they swore they were. Then Alejandro stands up, clinks his glass, and says he has an announcement. I thought maybe he'd say we were going on a trip or we'd finally gotten the house. I even thought for a second he was going to say we were going to be parents, but no. He looks right at me, as if I were an extra in his movie, and says, I'm happy to announce I'm divorcing Sophia. I don't want to be with someone so mediocre anymore. Silence. Christmas silence. A silence that smelled of turkey and betrayal. 2 seconds later, his whole family started clapping. His mother hugged him. Finally, son, you deserve better than her. His father raised his glass. Lucas and Mariana literally clapped as if it were a show. And Alejandro kept talking as if I didn't exist. Besides, my boss, Daniela, has been asking me to marry her for months. She treats me like a king. I can't wait to start my real life. His brother laughed. Looks like Christmas came early this year, bro. I just sat there. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't beg. Alejandro threw the divorce papers on the table and said, sign them. And his mom added, let the boy live his life, Sophia. Stop clinging to what's not yours anymore. I stood up slowly, straightened my dress, took the papers, and said only this, I hope your new life treats you exactly as you treated me. And I walked out into the snow. What none of them knew was this. When I met Alejandro 5 years ago, he was the one who was broke. He was a waiter at an event, helped his cousin in an office, lived counting coins. One night he spilled wine on my blouse and we started talking. He was charming, ambitious. I fell in love. We got married in his parents' garden with string lights and a small cake. He never really asked what level I worked at. I told him I worked in construction administration. It wasn't a lie, I just omitted some details. 2 years ago his dad got sick. Cancer. The medical bills were destroying them. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Patricia cried every night, saying they were going to lose the house. Alejandro didn't know what to do. I made one call. The next morning, the entire debt disappeared. The hospital told them it was an anonymous donor. They called it a miracle. I called it love. I also opened credit cards for his parents through my company, disguised as an aid program. They never asked where the money came from. His sister Mariana and his brother Lucas got jobs in companies I own. Again, no one asked how, because in their minds, I was just Alejandro's wife. Let's go to the divorce day. A month later, we were in court. Alejandro arrived with his whole family, all with "we won" faces. The judge finalized everything. I didn't contest anything. Alejandro even blurted out, I don't want your alimony. I don't need your spare change. We went outside. And that's where everything changed. 3 black SUVs and a Rolls-Royce pulled up in front of the building. People in expensive suits got out, executives his family knew by name. I heard Lucas whisper, isn't that Mr. Hay from Carter Holdings? Mariana recognized people from the same company where she worked, and they all walked towards me. One greeted me and stood by my side as if he were my staff. I just stood on the stairs watching as Alejandro and his family continued to celebrate as if they had won the lottery. The snow was falling, but I didn't feel cold. I just felt that hole where my heart used to be. Lucas walked past me with a smile. Ready to go back to your loser life, Sophia? Now that my brother is free of you, let's see if you can get a job at one of those construction companies you say you work for. I didn't answer. The car doors opened at the same time. From the first one, Thomas Hay, CEO of Carter Holdings, got out. From the second, Margaret Chin, CEO of Chin Industries. From the third, Richard Blackwood of Blackwood Capital. And from the last SUV, she got out, Victoria Ashford. Black cashmere coat, hair perfectly tied back. Heels that sounded like a sentence, and all the executives lined up behind me. Alejandro's mom's mouth dropped open. His dad frowned. Alejandro stopped smiling. Thomas was the first. "Ma'am, sorry for the delay. The traffic from the head office was terrible." I shook his hand. Margaret bowed slightly. Richard handed me a leather folder. "All the documents you requested are here, ma'am, reviewed and signed by legal." And then Victoria spoke. And when she speaks, everyone is quiet. "You're late," I said softly. "Timing is everything," she replied with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She turned to Alejandro's family, who were still frozen on the stairs. "Mrs. Patricia, or should I say Mrs. Fernandez, now that your son is officially divorced." "Who are you?" Alejandro's mother asked, offended. "I'm Victoria Ashford, majority partner of Ashford Enterprises. I also own Carter Holdings, Chin Industries, and Blackwood Capital. Basically, I own the 3 companies where you all work." Silence. You could hear the wind. "What?" Alejandro's dad said, pale. Victoria took out her phone, looked for something, and showed it to them. "This is the hospital where you were treated 2 years ago. The debt that magically disappeared. You remember it." "The anonymous donor," Hector mumbled. "It wasn't anonymous," Victoria interrupted. "It was her, and she pointed at me too. It was her," she continued, "who opened the lines of credit you thought were charity. And it was her who got the jobs for Lucas and Mariana in my companies." Lucas was speechless. Mariana started crying, but out of panic. "That's impossible," Alejandro finally said. "Sophia, she works in construction. She's a low-level administrator. She doesn't have that kind of money." Victoria gave a short laugh. "Low-level administrator? Your ex-wife is the COO of my entire real estate development division. She supervised the construction of 20 commercial buildings in the last 3 years, each valued at over $50 million. I saw Alejandro start to break. "And that's not all," Victoria said. "She's also a minority shareholder in my companies. She has a stake in 3. Her personal net worth is around $47 million. Alejandro's world came crashing down. His mom put her hand to her mouth. His dad lowered his head. "Why did you never say anything?" he asked me, but without arrogance, barely a whisper. For the first time since we left the courthouse, I spoke. "Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not for what I have." Apparently, that was a mistake. His dad spoke with a broken voice. "But you paid for everything. You helped us when we needed it most." "I did it for love," I said, "because I thought we were a family." Victoria stepped in front of me. "And that family," she said, looking at everyone, "just publicly humiliated her on Christmas. As of today, all personal benefits granted by Mrs. Sophia are suspended. Your positions will be reviewed, and any linked credit lines will be canceled." "You can't do that," Patricia screamed. "I can, and I already have," Victoria said without raising her voice. I looked at Alejandro one last time. "You wanted your real life. Keep it. I'll keep mine, the one I always had. I just never flaunted it." I got into the Rolls-Royce. The snow was still falling, and for the first time since it all began, I didn't feel rejected. I felt free. It wasn't until 2 days later that I understood the extent of the damage, 'cause when a powerful woman cuts benefits, the whole system starts to scream. On December 27th at 8:14 a.m., my corporate cell phone exploded with messages. First, Mariana, "Sophie, please tell them it was a misunderstanding." HR called me. They said my contract is under review. I have rent. I have a car payment. Don't do this to me. 5 minutes later, Lucas, "What did you do?" They locked me out of the system. They said by board decision I'm suspended until further notice. "Sophia, talk to your boss. You know I was just doing what Mom told me. Don't leave me with nothing." I just looked, left it unanswered, and went to make coffee. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't the one running after them. And then came the best part. Patricia called 3 times. On the 4th, I answered. "What happened, Mrs. Patricia?" I asked with the same politeness as always. Sophia, she was no longer arrogant, it was fear. "Listen, dear, you know things are said in the heat of the moment. Alejandro got carried away, but you know him. It was the emotion of the moment. Christmas, wine, those things. It was humiliation, I corrected. And not just from Alejandro, from everyone. But you know we love you, she forced, that we always saw you as a daughter. Before or after you clapped when I was left on Christmas? Silence. The kind of silence a person chews on. Look, Sophia, she lowered her tone. The bank called us. The line we had, the one you helped us get, was zeroed out, and the hospital sent another letter saying there was a system error and they need to validate the donor. There was no error, I said. There was ingratitude. Sophia, my husband is sick, she almost cried. Don't take everything from us. I didn't take anything from you, I replied. I just stopped putting in. And you're only now seeing how much I was putting in. She took a deep breath. What do you want? She finally asked, like someone surrendering. I smiled, but she didn't see it. I want you to learn to live with what you have, like I did with your son when he came to me with a negative bank account. And I hung up, 'cause it wasn't revenge, it was math. What they didn't know is that Victoria hadn't stopped. At 10 a.m., she called me to the panoramic office on the 32nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a winter view, a capsule coffee machine that costs more than many cars. You look better, she said without taking her eyes off the tablet. People usually look better when they get rid of 80 kilograms of someone else's ego. And you look better when you cut people off, I joked. I look richer, she corrected, laughing. She handed me a black folder. Mariana and Lucas's cases are already processed. They're not fired yet, she raised a finger. They're under review. That means they don't get paid for what they didn't earn. If they want to stay, they'll have to come in like any mortal, with an interview, with merits, without a political name. And the parents? I asked. The hospital won't let them die, she shrugged. But it won't be free anymore, Sophia. It'll be a basic plan. If they want a suite and a star doctor, let the wonderful son-in-law who left you on Christmas pay for it. I laughed. Speaking of which, she looked at me sideways. Has the wonderful son-in-law shown up yet? Not yet. Well, brace yourself. Because it didn't even take half a day. Alejandro texted me first, proudly. Let's talk. I didn't reply. He texted again. They're calling me from work. Did you do something? I didn't reply. He called me. I answered then. What did you do, Sophia? He was no longer the king of the world Alejandro. He was the Alejandro who once asked me for a 2,000 loan just to make it through the month. I didn't do anything. Your choice did. You said something about me at your company. No. Daniela called me. She said there's a situation with regional management. They froze my email. I had a promotion pending. I smiled, stirring my coffee. Alejandro, I said sweetly, you went to court to say you didn't want my coins. I just made sure you didn't get them. Silence. So you talked to Victoria, he asked, half incredulous, half scared. No. Victoria spoke with you. Through your consequences. He changed his tone. Sophia, look, he sighed. Maybe I was hasty. Christmas. Family pressure. Daniela on top of me. Let's talk about Daniela, I cut him off. She already knows you're not a regional manager of anything. He was speechless. Daniela, he stammered. She has money. She's the daughter of a man who's been trying to get on my board for 3 years, I completed, and who will now have to come in through the right door, not through my ex's bed. That's when he exploded. You always had it all hidden. You acted humble. You made me look like an idiot in front of my family. No, Alejandro, I corrected calmly. You made yourself look like an idiot when you preferred applause to character. I just pulled the rug out from under you so you could see. Come back, he blurted out of nowhere. I almost laughed out loud. Excuse me. Come back, he rushed. Not as a wife. Or yes. I don't know, but come talk to Mom. We can fix it. You can explain that you did it for love, that the help was, he searched for the word, selfless. Alejandro, I said, and put a nice sorrow in my voice, the kind that hurts and gets views. I helped them when I was your wife, when I was family. Now I'm an ex. And an ex doesn't support a family that applauds humiliation. He was left gasping. And what if we do it another way? He lowered his voice, trying to get seductive. You and I already know each other. You know I know, he chuckled softly. I know what you like. We can see each other without them knowing. You continue with your quiet millionaire life. And you have your businesswoman mistress? No, I finished really. And your mom happy and your sister spending? No, Alejandro, that arrangement was when I was poor and depended on you. Now you depend on me, and I don't negotiate with hunger. I hung up. Victoria on the other side of the table just raised an eyebrow. He tried the bed route, she guessed. He tried them all, I replied. Victim, macho, lover. All that's left is, my mom will call you crying. Give it an hour, she said. It'll come. It didn't take an hour. A voice message from Daniela, the so-called boss, arrived. The voice of someone used to speaking and everyone listening. Hi, Sophia. It's Daniela. We don't know each other directly, but I know very well who you are. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Alejandro exaggerated at Christmas, but I have nothing against you. In fact, I admire what you do. Can we talk? I'm at the Grand Central Hotel, 14th floor, corporate suite. I invite you. We can reach an agreement. I showed it to Victoria. She'll want to buy your silence, she said, or ask you not to close the door on her dad, I completed. Bring her up. Victoria passed me a card. And record, always record. I went. The Grand Central is one of those hotels that serves water in glass bottles and puts fresh flowers in the bathroom. The 14th floor hallway smelled of discreet money. Daniela opened the door in a champagne silk dress, perfect hair, expensive perfume. Sophia, she smiled. Now that I see you, I understand why Alejandro stayed for 5 years. And now that I hear you, I replied, I understand why he thought he could replace me. She laughed, but her eyes didn't. I'll get straight to the point, she said, pouring wine as if we were friends. What happened at Christmas was unnecessary. I didn't ask him to humiliate you. I just told him he couldn't be involved if he wanted the promotion. His family did the rest. They're like that, self-interested, primitive, she corrected without guilt. And at the same time useful. Hector has contacts. Patricia manages a group of ladies with important donations. Mariana moves people on social media. Lucas, no. Lucas is decorative. I almost laughed. And what do you want? I asked. For you not to destroy them, she said directly. Not now, give me time. I can relocate them. We can say it was a Christmas confusion, that you had an emotional reaction, that of course you appreciate what you experienced with them, that you were generous. And I become invisible, I completed. Not invisible, she bit her lip. Elegant. Some people have money and don't rub it in. I didn't rub it in, I reminded her until they spit in my face. She sighed tiredly. Sophia, she lowered her tone. You know how the high-level world works. We fight, but not in front of everyone. You guys made a show at the courthouse door. Now the whole company knows Alejandro's ex is the owner of half the world. And that creates, she searched noise. Noise that he started. Noise that you can turn off, she smiled. Look, she took out a folder. I have a proposal here. I clean up your image, you clean up theirs. I'll talk to my dad, release the credits again, keep Mariana's job going, and in exchange, I let your boyfriend keep saying he's a manager, I finished. She looked at me directly. In exchange, you let me keep him, she said simply. I remained silent. Alejandro is useful to me, she continued. He's good-looking, knows how to sell himself, has a family that pushes, and above all, he's manipulable. I'm not going to throw away a man like that because he has an ex richer than me. It doesn't make sense. But I can make him think he forgave you. That helps you. Good, mature woman, who doesn't hold a grudge, perfect image. And you go back to being the quiet businesswoman you like to be. She thought she had me there. Daniela, I said calmly. You're offering me back the life I built myself as if it were a prize. But you forgot one thing. What? That I like being seen now. She blinked. What you guys did was public, I continued. What I do will be public too. I can forgive. I can go back, but I'm not going to make it seem like I was the one who was wrong. So if you want to negotiate, bring numbers. She widened her eyes. Numbers? Yes. You want to keep Alejandro because he's politically useful to you. I want it so that by staying with you, Alejandro can never touch the shares I have. I want him to renounce in writing any future claims. I want him to sign that the help to his family was unilaterally mine. I want your dad to state that he didn't pressure, and I want a 5% stake in your group's next construction project in Miami. She almost choked. Are you crazy? I'm divorced, I corrected. And we don't give away love or money anymore. She stared at me. You really know how to play, she said, almost admiringly. I learned from people who clap at divorces during dinner. She took a deep breath. I'll talk to my father. Do it, I have time. And before leaving, I left a little gift. Oh, and tell Alejandro he can say he left me. But everyone already knows who left the courthouse in a Rolls Royce. When I got back to the office, Victoria had the TV on. Business news. And guess what was already happening? Anonymous businesswoman who paid for her father-in-law's treatment is humiliated by family at Christmas. Turns out to be a millionaire executive. I stood there. It was you, I looked at her. Not me, Victoria raised her hands. I think someone from compliance leaked it. Or someone from the courthouse or someone from your ex-mother-in-law who talked too much in the church group. It doesn't matter, it's out there now. And now? Victoria smiled with that rich wolf face. Now we take advantage of it. How? With an event. Event? Yes, she opened her agenda. Ashford Foundation's Winter Gala. We always invite politicians, bankers, boring influencers. This year we're going to invite, she looked at me, Sophia, the woman who helped in silence and was betrayed at Christmas. Everyone loves a story of humiliation and a comeback. And we're going to do it at the same club where his family struts their stuff every year. That'll kill them. It'll make them pay admission to see you shine. I smiled. Let's do it. But be prepared, Victoria warned, 'cause when they see themselves truly without money, they stop being just unpleasant. They get dangerous. I've already seen them. No, she denied. You haven't seen them yet. And that's when the cell phone vibrated again. Unknown number. Short message. Sophia. It's Hector, your ex-father-in-law. I need to see you alone. I can't talk about it over the phone. Don't tell Patricia. It's about the money and about something Alejandro didn't tell you. I read it twice. I looked at Victoria. I'm going. Of course you're going, she said, but don't go alone. He asked for a loan. Then go accompanied and silent, she winked. There are things about money and things about inheritance that family never told you. And I went to the place Hector asked for. An old coffee shop. Nothing fancy. The kind with ashtrays even though you can't smoke anymore, and that smell of burnt sugar and reheated coffee. It wasn't his style. That's how I knew it was serious. I arrived 10 minutes early. I sat with my back to the door like Victoria taught me. Never turn your back on someone who owes you money. 2 minutes later, Hector came in. He wasn't the arrogant man from the dinners. He was thinner, his coat poorly buttoned, and his eyes were those of someone who hadn't slept. He carried a hospital folder under his arm and a manila envelope. Thanks for coming, he said bluntly. You said it was about the money, I reminded him. It's about the money and about Alejandro. I signaled the waiter. 2 coffees. Hector waited for him to leave. Then he lowered his voice. Patricia thinks you're the problem, he said. That the rich woman manipulated you. That you thought you were better than us. But that's not it. The problem is that you saw how we live. You knew the house, the car, the trips. True. True. All of that, he inhaled, wasn't ours. I looked at him intently. What do you mean it wasn't yours? He opened the envelope, took out some yellowish papers. I had a small construction company, very small. Alejandro was a teenager. We went bankrupt in 2008. We almost lost everything. The house where you got married wasn't ours, it was Patricia's sister's. The car Alejandro boasts about was paid for in 60 installments. The trips were financed. We live on appearances. The puzzle fell into place for me, the applause, the arrogance, the need for an anonymous donor. And why didn't you say anything? I asked. 'Cause Patricia said you were good for it, that you paid without asking, that you wanted to please, that you were the best deal that ever happened to Alejandro. He looked down. And I allowed it. I felt a sad anger. Not the anger that screams, but the one that says, of course, that was it. So, why did you call me? Hector pushed the second envelope. It was newer, cream-colored. "'Cause there's one thing that neither Patricia nor Alejandro know," he said. "And if they find out from me, they'll kick me out of the house. But if they find out from you, they won't be able to pretend it doesn't exist." "What is it?" Alejandro swallowed. "He has no right to your money, but he also has no right to mine." I frowned. "Explain." Alejandro took a deep breath. "He's not my biological son." The coffee stayed in the air. "What?" "I raised him as if he were. I registered him. I gave him my last name. But he's not." Patricia came with him. "I'm already pregnant," she said. He was 2 years old. I was in love. I didn't ask questions. We paid lawyers, papers, everything. But he opened the envelope. There's a document that says if there's no blood link and if there are no verifiable contributions, debts are not inherited. Neither is inheritance. So I leaned in. "If he was thinking of keeping your house, that's not happening." "No. And with what you gave, either," he affirmed. I started to see the game. "You want this to come out?" I asked. "I want him to stop," Hector said bluntly. "To stop spending what's not his. To stop taking Patricia to the mall as if nothing happened. To stop promising Daniela that my dad has land. I have nothing. What I had, you paid for. I want him to understand that the only person who supported him these years was you, and that without you, his mask falls off." I looked at him. "And you want me to be the bad guy," I said without sugarcoating it. "I want you to be the only one he listens to," he corrected. "'Cause he doesn't listen to me anymore. Patricia even less. He fears you." I played with the spoon. "Hector, if I bring this out, Patricia will hate me more. Alejandro will say I destroyed him. Is it worth it?" "It is," he said firmly. "'Cause unlike Patricia, I do thank you for what you did. You saved my life, and I can't look the other way while my paper son spits on you with a car you paid for." My chest loosened a little. That at least one person from that house said thank you is already worth it. "Do you know the Winter Gala is coming up?" I asked him. "And that everyone will be there with a glass in hand and a camera in their face?" "I know." "Then we do one thing." I put my elbows on the table. "You don't say anything. Neither do I. Let them come. Let them ask. When they come on their knees, that's when we show the paper. That way I'm not the one who attacked. They're the ones who asked." Hector smiled tiredly. "Now you sound like the woman who manages millions," he said. "'Cause now it's worth showing," I winked. We said goodbye with a handshake that had more gratitude than interest. I left the coffee shop and sent a voice message to Victoria. Confirmed. The father is not the father. There's a document. This can be used. Instant reply. If it can be used, we love it. The day of the gala was a delight. All glass, an ice sculpture with the foundation's logo, French champagne, a string orchestra, people in long dresses that cost a car, politicians smiling too much, and influencers pretending to understand philanthropy. And of course, coverage, 'cause when a story like this leaks, everyone wants to show the humble woman who is a millionaire. Victoria made a point of putting me in the center. Emerald green dress, elegant slit, hair in waves, nothing vulgar. Everything expensive, a single piece of jewelry, a necklace of minimal diamonds, the signature of someone who doesn't need to shout. Today, Victoria said before we got out, you're not the ex who was humiliated. Today you're Sophia, the one who put up the money. If someone asks you about Alejandro, you smile and say, I wish him the best. That kills them more than any insult. And if they come to ask, let them come. And they came. First Mariana, in a rented dress. I recognized it because it was from a store that provides us with service and a face that said, I'm at the wrong party. Sophie, she approached. Can we talk for a second? Sure, I smiled, but quick, they're going to call me for photos. Look, HR told me you're reviewing my contract. I just want you to know it was never personal. Mom talks too much. You know how she is. I know, I nodded, and I know you're an adult too. I need that job. Then get in on merit, I said low and firm. Send your resume through the portal, not to me. Do an interview. Show you're worth it. Then you stay. If not, no. She turned red. But before I got in she almost said 'cause I was your sister-in-law, but she stopped herself. Exactly, I completed. Before. Now it's after. Mariana left with tears in her eyes, but walking. Then Lucas, in a borrowed suit and a salesman's smile. Sophie, my queen, fake hug. Look at you, beautiful. Hi, Lucas. I talked to the staff in the department, and they said it was a mistake that my access was revoked, that everything was running smoothly, that you could maybe put in a good word. It wasn't a mistake. I looked him in the eye. It was a decision. He blinked. But you put me there. I put you there because I thought you were going to work, not to mock me on the courthouse steps. His smile disappeared. It was a joke. Jokes have a cost, I said. Yours cost a job. His face hardened. So that's how it is. You get rich and forget who was with you. Who was with me? I tilted my head. I paid the hospital bill, gave you a job, gave you credit, and at the first chance, you called me a loser. The ones who forgot were you. He wanted to say something rude, but he saw the photographers and swallowed it. And finally, Alejandro. He waited for the right time, when the mayor's speech ended, when everyone went to get drinks, when the music got louder and the cameras went back to the stage. He came alone, without his mom, without his dad, without Daniela. Impeccable black suit, rented, I knew it. Styled hair, a face that said, I'm in hell, but I'm smiling. Hi, Sophia. Alejandro. He looked me up and down. Like you should have always looked. I always looked like this. You just didn't want to see it. He took a deep breath. Look, I'm not here to fight. I know. I know what happened at Christmas was too much, and I know you're on top now. He looked around. Very on top. It's not on top, I corrected. It's where I've always been. You're just seeing it now. Well, he ran a hand through his hair. I'm here to ask you not to cut off my parents. There it was. My dad is worse. Mom doesn't know how to manage. He lowered his voice. I lost the promotion. And Daniela, well, she said she needs me to fix this with you, because otherwise her dad won't get on your board. If you want. He looked at me with that face that once made me fall in love. I can publicly say that I love you, that I regret it, that you were the one who helped me. We can even. He lowered his voice more, show up together. It's good for everyone. Everyone. I raised an eyebrow. Me too. Yes, he hurried. 'Cause you'll stop being the humiliated ex and you'll be the one who came back. No one will say you were left. They'll say it was a misunderstanding. Your image is clean. Mine too. My parents keep their house. Daniela happy, you happy? Everyone wins. Not everyone, I said. There's one missing. Who? You, right? He frowned. What? At that moment, Victoria appeared out of nowhere, as always, with a drink in her hand. Mr. Fernandez, she said professionally. How nice to see you at an event where you're not glued to the bar. He tensed up. Mrs. Ashford. Since you're here, she smiled. Let me tell you a curiosity. Your son, she made discreet quotation marks, tried today to activate a line of credit in the name of his family company. I knew it. Hector, who was a few feet away talking to an investor, heard. He came over. I didn't authorize it, he said. Alejandro turned white. Dad. I didn't authorize it, Hector repeated. 'Cause it's not yours, because you're not my heir in that regard. Because you have the last name on the document, but not in your blood. And because the only one who put money here is in green. Heads turned. Alejandro was static. What are you saying? I'm saying, Hector stood firm, that the only real wealth you've seen in your life was what Sophia brought, and you've already lost it. Alejandro looked at me as if I had stabbed him. You told him. I didn't answer. He looked for me. 'Cause someone in your family still knows how to say thank you. Patricia, who was already on the prowl, came running. What are you saying? What's this about him not being your heir? Victoria took a sip of champagne. Oh, you didn't know? With fake surprise. I thought you were in on all the paperwork. Hector, Patricia almost screamed. Tell me it's not true. It's true, he said. And it's better you find out here than in a courtroom. Patricia started to tremble. You, she pointed at me. You did this. No, Patricia, I replied calmly, but loud enough for others to hear. What I did was stop paying. What you did was clap when I was humiliated. And what he did, I pointed to Hector, was be honest. Alejandro, cornered, did the only thing he knows how to do. Attack. You think you're better than us because you have money, but you got involved with a committed man. You got involved with my boss, you. I cut him off. I put food on your table. I paid for your wedding suit. I paid for your father's ventilator. I paid for the car your mom drives. I kept quiet when I saw you leave a hotel with Daniela. I protected your image as a good man and you still called me mediocre. Silence. The journalists, cause of course there were journalists, already had their cameras pointing. Victoria saw it and did what only very rich people know how to do. Control the narrative. Gentlemen, she said, smiling, please, no scandals. This is a night of celebration. Mrs. Sophia spent years helping this family in silence. Tonight is her night. Any questions about her divorce can be directed to my legal team. Translation: shut up or you'll find out how much it costs to cross Ashford. Alejandro started to sweat. Sophia, he went back to a low, almost pleading tone. Don't leave me like this. I don't know how to live without this. Without, he looked around. This? Learn, I replied. Like I learned to live without you. And I walked out of the circle, leaving them with their own ghosts. Victoria came behind me. That was nice, she said. It was clean. It was without shouting and it was public. That? I gasped. Do you think it's over? I asked. No, she smiled. They'll still want to bite you. People who lose money bite. But now they bite from below. I left the gala with that weird feeling you get when the world finally sees what you already knew you were. But families that live on appearances don't go to sleep just because you shone one night. They wake up more venomous. The first test came the next day. 7:01 a.m. A message from an unknown number with a blank profile picture. We know you weren't always so rich, Sophia. We have pictures of you from before with your college ex. If you don't want them to come out, talk to us. M. Mariana. 2 minutes later. Another number. Sophia, check your email. V. Victoria. I opened my corporate email. She had forwarded me something that had already reached the legal department. Subject: sensitive material about your executive. Attached: 3 old photos of me from when I was 22, hair badly tied up, work uniform, and in one of them I was kissing a guy with a cap in a bar, clearly just getting off a shift. Nothing serious, nothing that would burn me. But families that live in a theater believe that any photo where you're not in heels is destruction. Victoria had already left a note at the end. It's nothing, but they've already started. They'll want to bring you down to their level. Breathe and don't delete. That's useful. I smiled because it was obvious. Patricia couldn't stand the humiliation of the gala and went to dig into my life. She found old pictures. Maybe her sister found an old or cut profile. She thought, with this, I'll destroy her. They always underestimate the woman who climbs. I left it. At 9:30, Patricia called. Sophia, no good morning. I already know you're sending the press after us. I reigned. The newspaper that published is a financial one. The banks sent them. They like to know who's really giving money. You're no saint, she spat. You're worse than those women who seduce old men. You got into a family that wasn't yours, and now you think you have the right to take what's ours. I didn't take anything from you, I said patiently. I just stopped paying. It's different. She became sharper. And what if everyone knew that you're not the perfect businesswoman, that there was a time when you went to dive bars with men who couldn't even pay for your taxi? Are you going to stop paying for that too? I was silent for a second. Release it, Patricia, I said. Release the pictures. What? Release them. Publish them. Send them to the groups. Post them. Send them to your church. Look how poor the one who paid for our hospital was. Send it and see what happens. She froze. I don't believe you. Let me explain, I continued. What embarrasses you, normal people love. People love a before and after story. If you show that before I was in a hard hat and mud, you know what they'll say. Look how far she's come. And you know what they'll say about you. Look how they spit on the hand that fed them. A very heavy silence. You, she whispered. You're evil. No, I corrected. I learned public relations. You learned neighborhood gossip. They're not the same thing. She hung up. 2 minutes later. Mariana. Sophie, mom's crazy. She wants to post it. Stop her, she's going to get burned. I replied. Let her. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Daniela was cooking up something else, 'cause she's not stupid. The same day as the gala, her dad had tried to talk to Victoria and couldn't. So she went for the weakest link, Alejandro. And Alejandro, when he's desperate, sings. At 11:07, Victoria sends me another voice message. Your ex just told the boss that he's willing to tell everything about how you got into the companies if we don't give him his job back. So, he's going to try to say you slept your way in. Good, time to show him that the bed has a camera. I laughed out loud. You filmed him? I asked on the call. I film everything that could cost me millions, Victoria replied, chewing on something. And more. You really think I was going to let you work for 3 years on $50 million projects without having documentation of every signature? He wants to say you got ahead because you were pretty. I'll show your 180-page feasibility report and he'll look like a clown. He'll insist. Then we do better. We show that he was the one who tried to use his body to get ahead. I have emails from him to Daniela. I have. Let's go to the hotel and talk about the position. I have. I'll divorce her and marry you. If he wants to go into the mud has a name. Do we release it? No, she smiled. We save it because I want to see how far his hunger goes. How far did it go? To my house. Yes. End of the day. 7:43 p.m. The doorman called me. Mrs. Sophia, there's a gentleman here saying he's your ex-husband. He really needs to talk to you. I looked through the camera. Alejandro, no code. A defeated face. None of that confidence from the courthouse. The snow falling behind him. Victoria was right. When they see themselves truly without money, they get dangerous. I could have said not to let him up, but I wanted to see. Let him up. He came into the apartment slowly, looking at everything as if it were the first time, and in reality, it was. 'Cause when he was my husband, he never really looked at my apartment. He always thought it was a company rental. Now he saw the view, the heated floors, the paintings, the wine, the table. All mine. It's nice, he said, almost shyly. You never brought me here. You never asked. He stood there, not knowing where to put his hands. Sophia, I know I have no right, but my mom is scared. Mariana lost her salary. Dad, he lowered his voice. Dad told you. He didn't tell me. So you know that. That it wasn't all my fault, that Mom used you, he touched his chest. I let myself be used. You let yourself be used, I confirmed. And you used me. Yes, he admitted for the first time. I used you. Because it was easy. Because you gave. Because you were good, because you had money and didn't talk about it. But, he looked at me, I also loved you. There was the poison. I really loved you, he insisted, when you didn't have the green dress, when you wore a hard hat, when I made you laugh on the couch. I loved you, and I know you loved me. I got a little closer. And that's why it hurt, I confirmed. That's why, he nodded. And that's why I'm here. I can lose my job, I can lose my credit, I can lose my image, but I don't want to lose you. I looked at him. He was handsome. I never denied that. And that was exactly where he thought he was going to get me. She still loves me. If I look at her the right way, she'll come back. I took a step. Alejandro. Yes. Kiss me. He blinked. Seriously? Yes. I leaned in. Kiss me like when we had nothing. He came closer, happy, relieved, thinking it had worked. And then the hallway door opened. Victoria, with 2 guards and a tablet recording. Ready, she said coldly. We have what we needed. Mr. Fernandez approaches the private residence of his ex-wife after having tried to coerce her professionally. All recorded. If a single note appears tomorrow saying she got ahead by sleeping with someone, this comes out. His face fell. Sophia, you set me up. No, I replied. I showed you the mirror. And you, he pointed to Victoria, always sticking your nose in. Always protecting my people, she said. And Sophia is my people. You're not. He looked at the guards. He understood he wasn't going anywhere from there. This isn't going to stay like this, he threatened. My mom. His mom, Victoria cut in, just sent the old photos of Sophia to the parish group. Do you know what happened? The ladies congratulated her for having an ex-daughter-in-law who got ahead. So start thinking of another bullet. And she made him leave. He left, but before the door closed, he turned around. You think you won, he told me. But you didn't win because you don't have the only thing I have. What? I asked. Them. And he left. I stood still. Them. I looked at Victoria. Victoria sighed. The family, the Sundays, the stay for dinner, the Merry Christmas. Money doesn't buy that. But it can be created, I replied with a lump in my throat that I didn't want to have. It can be made with new people. It can, she confirmed. And we're going to do it. That's how the idea you're going to like came about. Sophia Stories, Victoria proposed. They're talking about you. Take advantage. I opened a channel, not with your full name. A story channel. A woman who helped and was betrayed. You tell stories about family, about money, about people who don't value. Everyone identifies. You monetize it, and when you want, you tell yours. YouTube. Shorts, long, whatever you want. Your face is nice, your case is fresh. Your story has luxury and humiliation. That gets views. But watch out, she raised a finger, without humiliating by name, without saying Alejandro Fernandez left me. You say, my ex, without saying Patricia, you say, his family. Drama, but within the policies. And I accepted because if they wanted to destroy me with exposure, I was going to expose myself my own way. In the first video, I recorded like this, in perfect Spanish, with a calm tone. I never imagined that the people I helped the most were the ones who clapped the loudest when I was humiliated. You pay for the hospital, you pay the credit cards, you give them jobs, you invite them to your house, and one day at Christmas, in front of everyone, they tell you, we don't want someone so mediocre anymore. And when they find out the mediocre one had millions, they call you to ask you not to leave them with nothing. Sound familiar? I'm going to tell you how I reacted and how you can react without stooping to their level. I uploaded it. In 2 hours, 60,000 views. In 24 hours, 1.2 million. Comment after comment. The same thing happened to me with my mother-in-law. Tell us more about the boss. We want to see when you cut off their credit. Do a part 2. I want to know if you got back with him. Alejandro saw it, Patricia saw it, Daniela saw it, and that's when the dirtiest part came. Because when they realized that not only was I not ashamed, but I was profiting from it, that's when they went for the last card. If you don't take down the videos, we'll tell about your mother. That message came from a weird email, no name, but I know where it came from. Patricia again, 'cause the only thing I never expose is my mom. My mom isn't rich. My mom isn't part of this world. My mom cleaned the houses of people like Alejandro's mom. And if they touched her, that's when the story's tone changed. So I replied, not to them, to my audience. In video 3. What happens when the family that humiliated you starts threatening to bring up things from your past? What happens is that they forget who really has the papers. What happens is that they forget who paid whose bills. What happens is that they forget who has the hospital's email. And what happens is that they forget that I still haven't told the strongest part. The pressure didn't ease up. On the contrary, the more people watched my videos, the more nervous Alejandro's family got, 'cause I was no longer just the ex who left in a Rolls Royce. I was the ex who was teaching other women to stop supporting ungrateful people. And that cuts off the source. That same night, Mariana called me, crying for real, not like in a soap opera. Sophia, Mom is out of control. She said if you keep uploading that crap, she's going to go to your mom's house to talk to her. Don't let her do that. You know how she is. That's when I froze. Touch me? Okay. Touch my wallet? Game on. Touch my mother? Where is she now? I asked. In the church group. She even sent your uniform photo. They're saying your mom didn't raise you right because she didn't teach you to respect your elders. I took a breath. Okay. Don't reply to anything else. Leave it to me. I hung up and called Victoria. They're going to go for your human side, she said directly. Normal. When they can't attack you from above, they attack from below. Does your mom know everything? She knows I got divorced. She doesn't know about the show. Then we tell her, not Patricia. We bring her here, we sit her down, we dress her up, and we explain everything without the show. My mom isn't from this world, Vic. Well, she's going to get to know it, and she's going to like it. And while we're at it, we kill two birds with one stone. We protect her and we turn her into your best public defense. If your mom says, "My daughter did the right thing," Patricia has nowhere to go. It made sense. The next day, I went to get my mom. A simple neighborhood, a street with kids playing soccer, the smell of popcorn. She received me as always. "Daughter, come in." I went in. "Do you want coffee?" "I do, but I want to talk." She looked at me with that "here comes the bomb" face. We sat down. "Mom, do you remember Alejandro?" I started. "Sophia," she raised her hand. "If this is to say you got back with him." "I didn't get back with him," I laughed. "He's the one trying to come back." She crossed her arms. "I don't like that." I explained everything slowly, without glamour, without CEOs, without Ashford, without 47 million. I explained how they clapped, how they called me mediocre, how I paid for the hospital, how we broke up, how they now want to throw old photos at me. My mom listened, then scratched her forehead. "So, let me see if I got this right. You helped. They spit on you. You stopped helping. Now they're mad because you stopped helping." "Exactly. And they're saying I raised you wrong." "Exactly." My mom let out one of those dry laughs of a woman who's cleaned many houses of difficult ladies. "Oh no, now I'm getting involved." "Mom." "No, Sophia, now I'm getting involved. I kept quiet when you married him without my blessing. I kept quiet when you paid those bills. I kept quiet when you said, 'Mom, wait for me, I'm going to work in the Capitol.' I kept quiet, but to say I didn't raise you right." She pointed to her chest. "That's about me." "Mom, it's going to be public." "Even better," she smiled. I always wanted to wear heels and had no reason. I took her to Victoria's office. Victoria loved her. "Your mom is beautiful," she said. She has truth in her face. People love that. My mom felt a little strange with the glass, with the capsule coffee, with the expensive dress. "Is this how you live, daughter?" "Yes." "Then live right, without hiding." And that's how the next day my strongest video yet came out. Title, in Spanish. "They humiliated me at Christmas, and now they want to attack my mom. I won't allow it." I was in front, but the camera turned to my mom, sitting with a simple blouse, her hair tied back. "Hello," she said shyly. "I'm Sophia's mom. I don't have millions. I don't have a company. The only thing I have is shame and education. And I did raise her to help. What I didn't raise her to do was to put up with ungrateful people." I almost clapped. "My daughter paid a hospital bill that I couldn't even look at," she continued. "She didn't ask for anything because I taught her that you help family without saying it. And those people," she looked directly at the camera, "laughed at her because they didn't know how much she had. So, if you want to attack her, attack me, but have the courage to say your name. Don't be cowards like at Christmas." Victoria cut it there and uploaded it. Boom. 3 million in 12 hours. Comments exploding. "Your mom is a love. Now I get everything." With a mother like that, of course she got ahead. Her mother-in-law must be bitter. Haha. Part where the mother-in-law finds out, please. And like clockwork, Patricia saw it and lost it because what she wanted was to tarnish, and what came out was more light. She called me screaming. "You don't bring your mother into this. Don't put her in this circus." I told her, "But you were going to go talk to her." "No, but not for the whole country to see her." "Well, now they've seen her." "Sophia," her voice trembled with rage. "You don't understand what you're doing. You're destroying our image. You destroyed your image when you said, you deserve better than her at the table." I just pressed upload. She took a deep breath and then let it out. "Well, I can upload things about you too. Do you want me to tell who your dad was? Do you want me to say your mom worked as a?" "You can tell I said, no longer afraid. But tell it right. Tell them my mom worked in the houses of people like you and still raised a daughter who paid Mrs. Fernandez's hospital bill. Tell that, it'll get views." She swore and hung up. Victoria next to me was laughing so hard she almost spilled her coffee. "They don't understand the internet," she said. "Every hit they take brings you up. Except, 'cause there's always a but. The higher I got on the internet, the more interested Daniela's family became. Her dad, the one who wanted to get on the board for years, realized my face got engagement, and rich people love two things: power and visibility. So he sent a message. "Mrs. Sophia, I'd like to sponsor your channel. You tell stories, we put the ads. You win, we win." I told Victoria. "Don't accept," she said right away. "That old man wants to use you to launder money and to control what you say. If tomorrow you want to tell the part about the boss mistress, he'll shut you up." "But I can use it," I countered. "You can, but with your rules." And then she gave me an idea that was going to hurt Daniela. "Do this," Victoria said. "In the next video, you tell how to identify when your partner is with his boss. Without naming names, without saying where, without saying the position, but saying everything." I loved it. I recorded. Sometimes it's not that he's tired, sometimes it's that he's investing elsewhere. Signs your partner is with his boss. He starts talking about image and not mixing. He demands silence from you, but he shows her off. He wants you invisible when there are rich people around. And the clearest one, he humiliates you in front of his family to be able to say, "I'm free," but he doesn't let you go when he needs your credit card. If this happens to you, don't cry. Bill. I uploaded it. Guess who commented from a fake account with "businesswoman" in the name? And what if the boss also has her own life and isn't the bad guy? I laughed because Daniela could be rich, she could be cold, she could have a hotel, but I had an audience, and the audience takes the side of the woman who was humiliated at Christmas. Except the story wasn't going to end on YouTube because when someone loses their wallet, they go to court. A week later, I receive a notification. Pretrial summons for defamation. Who signed? Patricia Fernandez and Alejandro Fernandez. They wanted me to take down the videos, to stop insinuating, and to restore the benefits that were taken from them. I almost framed it and hung it up. They want the money back. I showed it to Victoria. And they want you to stop profiting from it, she completed. Of course they were going to try, but look at the mistake. They sent it with a family lawyer, not a good firm. That means two things. They're out of money to pay a top lawyer, and they're desperate. Do we respond? We respond in video, she smiled, and with our lawyer. And there I went. They want to shut me up, and I still won't name them. Today I received this. I show the notification. A family that clapped when I was humiliated is asking me not to tell that I was humiliated. I won't name them because it's not necessary. I won't show their address because it's not necessary. But I will say something. Help is not mandatory. Gratitude is. And when there's no gratitude, there are consequences. And when there are threats, there are more stories. It exploded again. Alejandro obviously saw it and did what people without media training do. He went his stories with 10,000 followers and let loose. Don't believe everything you see. Some people play the victim, but in reality they used our family to get where they are. 5 minutes later, deleted, but the internet doesn't forgive. There was already a screenshot. And then my followers went after him. They told him everything. They sent him the video from the stairs. They sent him the Rolls Royce. They sent him memes. Daniela called me furious. Was that necessary? She said. They're destroying him. He destroyed himself, I replied. I'm just making it clear. Sophia changed her tone. My dad is upset. He says this is tarnishing the family name. We need to tone it down. Your dad can get on the board whenever he wants, I said. You know what he has to do? What? Publicly state that his company does not support men who humiliate the women who help them. Then we'll see. Silence. Daniela wasn't used to negotiating while losing. You're going too far, she whispered. You're getting too big for your britches. I'm getting what I am. That's the difference. She hung up without saying goodbye. Victoria snapped her fingers. Done. Now they'll attack us where it hurts. Where? At the construction site. They'll try to say your project had irregularities, that you used favors, that you got a commission. Classic. And there, dear, she looked at me seriously, that's where we have to be impeccable. We are, she smiled. I save paper even for the coffee I don't drink. They had only one move left, and it came. Not by phone, not by email, in person. The one who appeared in my office with dark glasses and a fur coat was Patricia. With her, Mariana, in the glass lobby, without an appointment. She doesn't have an appointment, the receptionist said. I'm the ex-mother-in-law, Patricia said as if it were a title. I could have had her come up and humiliate her, but I preferred another scene. I went down to the lobby. Mrs. Patricia, Mariana. Sophia raised her chin. Do you like what you're doing? I love it. You're looking resentful. I'm looking like a warning. She came closer, clutching her purse. Look, it was hard for her. I thank you for what you did for Hector. Really. But you can't just leave a family on the street like that, from one day to the next. I didn't leave anyone on the street, I replied. I just stopped paying for your beach house. Mariana grabbed her arm. Mom, calm down. No, let her listen. Patricia took a deep breath. You want me to apologize? That's what you want, for me to say sorry for clapping. Well, sorry. There it is. Mariana's eyes widened. I was surprised. Sorry, Patricia repeated, and I saw that it hurt. Sorry because I didn't know who you were. Sorry because I let myself be carried away by my son. But now stop, don't continue. Take down the videos. Stop exposing. Let us go on. Hector's not well. I don't want him to die thinking you hate us. She pulled the father card. I took a breath. Mrs. Patricia, I said slowly. I don't hate you. I just won't continue to support disrespect. If you want me to stop, you stop too. Stop threatening my mom. Stop sending photos. Stop saying I took advantage. Stop calling Daniela to shut me up. Stop sending summons. If we stop, you stop. I'll think about it. She looked at me with that look of someone who has always gotten everything with drama. It's not enough. Neither was finally, son. You deserve better, Dot. I threw it back at her. And look, here we are. Patricia pressed her lips together. Fine, she finally said. Then we'll see each other in court. See you there, I nodded. Bring the hospital papers. Bring the credit cards. Bring your daughter's contract. Bring the messages where you asked me for a higher limit. I'll bring mine. She turned on her heels and left. Mariana stayed for a bit. Sophie, she whispered. Are you really going to take her to court? I'm really going to take everything where it needs to go, I replied. 'Cause I'm no longer afraid of them seeing what I have. But what if Dad? Her eyes filled with tears. He can't take another one. That's when I remembered something you asked for at the beginning. A touch of wealth of assets, but with emotion. I bent down to her level. Mariana, I can even help again, but now there will be a condition. She looked at me with hope. What? That the reparation be public, I said. That the same people who saw you clap see you apologize. Not for me, for your mom, for your dad. And for all the daughters-in-law you've already treated badly. She swallowed. That can be done. Then do it, I smiled. And I'll see what I do. She left. Victoria came from the side. Are you going soft? She joked. No, I'm being strategic, I corrected. If they apologize in public, that video is worth more than any lawsuit, and it's ready to. She made the gesture of closing a book. I smiled. The hearing was like an expensive theater with nervous people, a large room, shiny wood, press cameras outside, 'cause the businesswoman who was humiliated at Christmas was already news. A serious prosecutor, a judge with a face of few words. On the left side, me, Victoria, my lawyer, and my mom, in a simple dress, sitting there, but with the posture of a queen. On the right side, Patricia, rigid, Mariana, anxious, Alejandro, trying to look elegant, and Hector, tired, but present. The case on paper was simple. They wanted me to take down my videos and restore benefits. We presented records of aid, screenshots of humiliation, videos from the stairs, footage of Alejandro going to my house to try to coerce me, a screenshot of his story trying to deny me, plus the hospital package where it said Donor S. Gutierrez. The judge glanced at everything, raised an eyebrow, and said, "There's less of a legal issue here and more of a shame issue." The prosecutor almost smiled. "Mrs. Fernandez, Patricia," the judge said. "Do you acknowledge that Mrs. Sophia paid for your husband's treatment?" "Yes," she bit out. "She did. Do you acknowledge that she got you a line of credit?" "Yes." Do you acknowledge that your children got jobs in companies related to her? Yes. Do you acknowledge that at a Christmas dinner you celebrated your son divorcing her and that you called her mediocre? Silence. The whole room waiting. Patricia clutched her purse, looked at her husband, looked at the cameras, 'cause she knew there were people recording outside, and for the first time since I met that woman, she lowered her head. Yes, she said, almost in a thread. We did. Do you understand, the judge continued, that this conduct allows Mrs. Sophia to relate the events she experienced from her perspective, as long as it does not violate your privacy or expose sensitive data? But she has millions of followers, Alejandro blurted out. She's destroying us. No, the judge cut him off. You destroyed yourselves when you clapped. She's narrating. It's not the same thing. Victoria almost made a huh, but she contained herself. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Sophia, you with your economic and media power also have a responsibility. You cannot turn a family conflict into an eternal public lynching. What are you looking for? I had already rehearsed that answer, 'cause that's what was going to circulate. I'm looking for closure, Your Honor, I said, looking straight ahead. For it to be clear who helped whom. For the abuse to stop, for them not to be able to continue asking for money, and at the same time humiliate. And I'm looking for, I took a breath, for them to understand that even if a woman has money, that doesn't obligate her to tolerate contempt. The prosecutor nodded. Then the judge said, this is easily resolved. Mrs. Sophia is not obligated to restore any benefits. The Fernandez family will refrain from contacting her to request financial assistance, except through her legal representative. Neither party may threaten or expose data of Mrs. Sophia's family. And given that the controversy was public, the apology must be public. Patricia's eyes widened. Public, the judge repeated, as was the offense. Mariana looked at me as if to say, is this it? Hector breathed a sigh of relief. Alejandro's face hardened. I'm not going to apologize, he said, crossing his arms. She used us. She made us look bad. She. Mr. Fernandez, the judge interrupted. One can be proud or one can be an adult. The two things together, no. It wasn't just my fault, he insisted. It was Daniela's, it was my mom's, it was. And yet, it was you who said mediocre. I cut him off without shouting. It was you who threw the papers at me on the table. It was you who celebrated with your brother. No one put a gun to your head. He took a deep breath. And if I don't apologize? The judge looked at him with a tired patience. Then this court expressly authorizes Mrs. Sophia to continue telling her story with date, place, and context by all means she considers, and you will not be able to complain later. Apologize and it's over. Don't apologize and it will be a series. It was beautiful to see his face because he understood. Either he swallowed it or I was doing season 2, 3, 4. Patricia grabbed her son's arm. Son, that's enough. Mom, that's enough. We're not going to fight with people who have better cameras than ours. He looked at me, and there I go saying it again. He was still the guy I fell in love with one day, only now broken, without a crown, without an audience. Sorry, he said low. Louder, I asked. He took a breath, looked at the judge, looked at the journalists who were trying to see. Sorry, he repeated louder. Sorry for having humiliated you. Sorry for having let my family applaud you. Sorry for not having seen what you were doing, and thank you for what you gave. The room was silent. Patricia also spoke. I also apologize. I was unfair. I thought you were a gold digger. And the gold digger was me. Mariana cried. Hector nodded. The judge banged the gavel. So noted. Case closed. But you wanted a comeback, right? So, take this. When we left the hearing, with everything already settled, Victoria got a message from her legal team, and she almost laughed in my face. They're going to love you, she said. Who? Women. Why? She showed me her phone. The video from inside the courtroom was already leaking on gossip accounts. Ex-mother-in-law gives public apology to millionaire daughter-in-law who supported the whole family. And the comments were already like this. I live for this kind of justice. Apologize with the same microphone you used to humiliate. I want part 78. She should launch a course. That was it. They wanted to shut me up with shame, and they ended up giving me the perfect ending, the public request. But then came the comeback that no one expected. In the middle of the comments, a verified profile appeared with a suit picture. It said Inha. Luis Salgado, president of the National Chamber of Construction, commented, "Stories like this are what we want in our women's leadership program. Mrs. Sophia, we're waiting for you." Victoria almost jumped. "See what I told you," she said. "Tell your drama well, and it becomes branding." And Alejandro disappeared? No, 'cause people who lose the spotlight try to grab any light. 3 days after the hearing, he uploaded a half-assed video recorded with his phone in his parked car. "Hi people. I know some of you saw what happened. I know some of you think I'm the bad guy. I just want to say that it hurt me too, that I also felt left out, that being married to a very successful woman is also difficult, and that sometimes you do stupid things, but that I love her and that if one day she wants," he looked at the camera dramatically, "my house will always have a place for her." I was watching it with my mom. My mom made a tisk sound. "Now he wants likes," she said. "Now he wants followers," I corrected. "And you?" I'm going to upload the ending. The ending was like this. "I didn't lack love, I lacked respect." End of the story. Many people ask if I forgave him. Yes, I forgave him because forgiveness is for me, not for him. But forgiving is not going back. Forgiving is not reopening the credit. Forgiving is not pretending nothing happened. Forgiving is letting go and learning. I learned that love without respect is debt. I learned that giving without limits makes you a cashier, not a family. I learned that hiding what you have doesn't make them love you more, it makes them underestimate you. And I learned that there are people who only applaud you when they see you down, because from above you can see who applauds for self-interest. That family, I already helped them, I already loved them, I already supported them, and I already left them. Now comes another part. I'm going to use what I know: money, construction, contacts for women who do value. For those who pay for their father-in-law's chemo and are left alone. For those who support their brothers-in-law and are called mediocre. For those who cook at Christmas and are kicked out on Christmas. It's going to be called Christmas Without Humiliation Fund. And yes, Victoria already said she's putting in the first donation. If they wanted to make me feel shame in public, I'm going to do help in public. Alejandro, I wish you the real life you wanted. I hope it treats you better than you treated me. I'll stick with mine. And to you who are watching this, if they ever clapped when you were hurting, don't stay silent. Tell. Because silence protects the one who humiliates, the voice protects the one who loved. I uploaded it. It was the biggest video on the channel. And the best part wasn't the number, it was the DMs. Sophia, thank you. Sophia, today I stopped paying my ex-mother-in-law's credit card. You encouraged me to leave my brother-in-law's house. I also paid for the hospital and they kicked me out. I want to work with you on that fund. And then I understood. The end wasn't I humiliated them back. The end was I took their humiliation and turned it into my stage. Alejandro will live saying he left a millionaire. Patricia will spend her life saying, I also apologized. Hector will finally sleep knowing he owes me nothing. Mariana will work for real and she'll be good at it because she had talent. She just used it for intrigue. Daniela will think twice before using a married man as a stepping stone. And I will live with the most elegant part of all: freedom. Freedom to say how much I have, to say where I come from, to say who humiliated me, and above all, to never again support someone who claps when I'm bleeding.